or anything that's coming from the state.
Good evening and welcome to the first of 3 meetings this evening. My name is Dennis Buckley, Mayor of the City of Beech Grove. At this time we will convene the Board of Sanitation meeting. And in lieu of a roll call, I will introduce each participant. To my far right, Dave Harrison, member of this board. To my immediate right, Dan McMillan, our clerk treasurer. To my immediate left, Craig Wiley, our city attorney. To my far left, Sandra Seward, also a member of this board. Board members, you've been given a copy of the minutes of the previous meeting dated September the 4th. The floor is open for comments or questions.
No comments.
Motion to approve as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye and the motion carries. Move to approval of claims. First vouchers are wastewater manual claims. These are claims that do not require board approval prior to being paid. This evening we have one page in the amount of $23,524.42. Floor is open for questions or comments.
No questions.
If there are no questions or comment, motion to approve is presented.
Make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I also vote aye and the motion carries. Next voucher is wastewater regular claims. These are claims that require board approval prior to being paid. This evening we have 2 pages in the amount of $9,599.21. Floor is open for comment or questions.
I have a question, please, on page 1, 3/4 of the way down, Wessler Engineering, sewage works study report for $1,049.57. And what are they continuing to do for us?
Brent, did you hear the board member's question?
And what was the specific invoice?
Wessler's Engineering, a monthly fee for sewage work study and reporting.
Yeah, we have an annual report. The IDEM requires us to do an annual stormwater report. And they serve as consultation in providing documentation, information, and then helping us to put that report together. It's a massive report that we do every year. And Wessler, for I don't know how many years now, has always helped us do it.
Okay. This is a yearly thing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
And we actually just submitted it last week.
Okay, thanks, Brett.
Yep.
Any other questions by board members or comments?
I have one more question, please. Peters Municipal Consultants. And what do they do for us that Wessler doesn't?
That was the sewer rate study.
Sewer rate study.
Wessler would not do anything financial.
I have no more questions. Thank you.
Dave?
No.
Motion to approve is presented.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye and the motion carries. On to old business, there is none. New business, if we could get Brad to come up and give us a report on sewer maintenance, highlighted for last month.
Well, we put online each month our Department of Public Works report, and the last section is something that Phil Gerganis has been doing for a few months now, kind of documenting his daily activities out in the field. Last month, we only had 1 call in, and it ended up not being anything that we were at fault, but he did flush the main just as a precaution. So it's been really helpful having him out there and kind of him getting his hands back on the sewer system and kind of seeing where we're in neglect in some areas. One of the areas was 4th and Byland. He found where we had some severe root infiltration, and when he dug it up, what he found was when the pole was moved, and I think the mayor had kind of seen evidence of this, they got into the storm sewer pipe and then they just patched it with old license plates, and the date on those was like 1962. So I imagine it's been like that for quite some time. he was able to repair that, cut out the section of pipe that was bad, make the repair. He had another similar situation on Subway where he did the same thing. So those kinds of things are going on in the city where he's taking out old sections of pipe that don't drain adequately and replacing them with new. So ultimately, he's enhancing our ability to get the stormwater where it needs to go. And he had a couple projects where he used riprap to solidify some banks that were being eroded with some scouring, and the water was eroding the outfalls. So by putting that rock in there, it stabilizes it. And yeah, he's had a lot of projects like that. So last month was a really productive month for him, and he documents all that. And we put it on the website for anybody that's interested in reading through it.
And it's good reading.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Board member have comments or questions? Okay. Brad, if you could talk to us a little bit about the new trash trucks.
Yeah, we're really excited. We really had high expectations for what we wanted. We sat down and we really did talk at length before we ordered these trucks about exactly what did we want them to do, how did we want them to be built. And I think anytime in life you do that and you come away with the final product that's better than what you wanted, it's always a good experience, and I think that's how we felt. We took delivery Friday, and I think the gentleman that was, he oversees the shop that put them together, said that they're two of the nicest trucks he's ever seen. I mean, they really came out nice. The graphics are really nice. Everything that we wanted on them came out exactly how we wanted it. So we couldn't be more happier. We're excited to have the auction and get rid of all the old stuff so we don't have to look at it any longer. And it's nice to have two solid, good new trucks that are under warranty out there doing that job.
Okay, thank you very much. Comments from board members?
I do have a question, Brad, before you sit down.
Sure.
Now that we have these two new trash trucks, how are we going to maintain them? What are we going to do different than what we've done in the past and let our trucks fall apart? What's our new beginning look like?
A big picture, what happened in the past was just too long. I mean, we just waited too long. I think the ideal time frame to replace a truck is in that 6 to 8 year mark. And the trucks that we're replacing were 12 years up to almost 20. So anytime you get that length of time, you know, metal starts to rust just by nature of what you're putting in those trucks. The trash can be really corrosive. We do have a maintenance schedule on these trucks where we're going to wash them weekly and do some steam cleaning on them, which we didn't do on the older trucks. They have reinforced hoppers. The trash compactor section is more of a reinforced metal that now I think as long as we continue to wash those things and going even beyond that, being more careful about what we put in them, I think we're going to be a little more strict about what we allow the guys to pick up. Covanta, where we take the stuff, the incinerator has a pretty tight list of regulations, and in the past I think Beech Grove's been kind of notorious for just picking up anything, and I think we have to over time get a little more responsible with what we collect. So it helps our equipment.
I don't think people realize it, but this year we've changed almost all of the rules pursuant to trash pickup, to what gets picked up and what doesn't, and how many totes you have, and the charge. So it's been actually revamped.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that's what they should have done back in '06.
I agree.
But they didn't. So, but anyway, that's down the road.
Have you used them yet?
No, Mondays, we don't have a trash route on Mondays. We do the schools, and dumpsters are really hard on the trucks. You have to use the overhead cylinder, so we've kind of agreed that we'll use the old truck on Mondays. So tomorrow will be their first day actually out collecting a normal trash route.
What time will that be, Brad? So I can get out and watch it?
7 a.m.
Okay.
Yeah. I think one of them still is getting a radio installed, so it could just be one, and then the other one will probably come in around 10 a.m.
I'd just like to comment, we're closing on these tomorrow on the financial end of it, and we came back with a real good, favorable rate on them. Our second backup bid was 2.27 with PNC. Regions won the bid with 2.12% interest. So, you know, if you got to borrow right now is the time to do it. So it was a good time to do this.
And they've been set up on a 5-year program, so that the money is budgeted. So after 5 years, they should be traded in for new vehicles, so that's also been corrected. While you're up there, can we talk just briefly about leaf pickup?
Yeah, I think, for the past few years, Wessler, same company that we've been, or the engineering firm that we've used on a lot of the stormwater issues, has been kind of encouraging us to get away from, encouraging people to rake all their yard waste to the street. I mean, ultimately, it's bad for the storm sewers. You're encouraging people pulling everything out of the yard, essentially putting it in the street where it eventually goes to the storm sewers, and then, greatly enhances our chances of having a problem. So we are really trying to encourage people this year to make use of the totes or to bag your leaves if you can. We will still have the leaf machines going around for people that can't do either one, but it's preferred method for us, and I know probably going forward, we would really like to start moving in that direction where people are trying to get the leaves bagged, where we can pick them up with a trash truck and not have to run 2 extra crews, waste the extra gas. Those 2 machines are from the early 90s, so again, you're talking about 2 more machines that really need to be replaced. So when you look at the cost and the benefits of not dragging all that out into the street, where it's going to eventually end up in our sewer system, really I think our goal long-term is to start kind of changing the behavior, and hopefully people will get on board with that and do more bagging of leaves and using the tote as a receptacle to put the leaves in.
So we'll be putting out some notices, and we'd like to wean ourselves away from that program. So thanks, Brad.
Thanks.
All right. Comments from board members?
No comments.
None.
Now I ask for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn?
I'll second.
Meeting is adjourned at 6:11 p.m. We will convene the Board of Works and Safety in 5 minutes.
4, 3, 2.
Good evening and welcome to the second of 3 meetings this evening. My name is Dennis Buckley, Mayor of the City of Beech Grove. At this time, we will convene our Board of Public Works and Safety meeting. And in lieu of a roll call, I'll introduce all of the participants. To my far right, Dave Harrison, a member of this board. To my immediate right, Dan McMillan, our clerk treasurer. To my immediate left, Craig Wiley, our city attorney. To my far left, Sandra Seward, also a member of this board. You have been presented with the minutes of the previous meeting, Monday, September the 17th, 2012. Floor is open for questions or comments. If not, I'll ask for a motion to approve the claims as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye and the motion carries. This time we'll move over to approval of claims. First voucher is corporate manual claims. These are claims that do not require board approval prior to being paid. We have 6 pages in the amount of $560,268.24. The floor is open for comment or questions. These are basically employee benefits, payroll, utilities, and perf.
I do have a question, Dennis, if
Sure.
I may, please. On page 5, the last 2 entries for covert cameras, one entry in the amount of $3,820 and the other one's $7,800.
Chief?
Those are 2 camera systems that the police department's purchasing through a grant system from the federal government, the DOD.
And where are these cameras going to be used?
I would not
They
answer
are
that.
undercover cameras, so wherever we think that the police need them to be used.
Okay,
Not
perfect.
any specific place.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments?
No other questions?
I ask for a motion to approve as presented.
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I also vote aye and the motion carries. Move to corporate regular claims. These are claims that require board approval prior to being paid. We have 3 pages in the amount of $98,554.61. Floor is open for questions.
Page 1,
Mm-hmm.
concrete work at fire station. Was that part of the bond?
Yes,
Okay.
they replaced some of the concrete pads at both fire stations.
What entry was that, Dave? I'm sorry.
On page 1, about halfway down.
Thank you. And the two new, 3/4 of the way down on page 1, Lamping Hoosier,
Mm-hmm.
furnace Sarah T. Bolton, and 2 new radiant heaters.
Mm-hmm.
Are those replacement or are they new?
Replacement.
Replacement.
That's also part of the bond issue.
Thank you. On page 2, United Consulting
Mhm.
professional fees for $5,852.
That is a payment for paving engineering that we are getting ready to do in South Grove, if I'm not mistaken. No, that's not correct. Yeah, I'm sorry, that's not right. This is for the, part of the bond issue for the creek erosion engineering.
Is that a one-time fee?
No, that will continue on. It won't be that same amount,
Okay,
but those fees are approximately $30,000.
okay. And on page 3, it looks like we got another new HVA system for $15,000. And where was that location?
This was at the fire station in Albany. Actually, it was a replacement.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Were the other ones just, were they shot, old? Is that why we got new ones? The old ones no longer worked?
The one in the park was put in 1984. The radiant tube heats out at DPW, one of them I think was the original unit, Brad, and another one, the heat exchanger was out, so theoretically they had no heat. The fire station, I don't know how old that one was. That was at least 17 years old.
Yeah, and that's part of the bond as well?
Yes.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Mhm. Any other questions or comments? If not, I'll ask for a motion to approve as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye. Motion carried. On to old business, a memorandum of understanding between the Marion County Prosecutor's Office and our city court. I'll defer to our city attorney. Craig?
Thank you, Mayor. As you know, in our last Board of Works meeting, we decided to table whether we approved the revised memorandum of understanding after we had a chance to review the one that's in place. And you had that before you. It was signed by a Laurel Judkins and a Jeffrey Logston. I think Jeffrey Logston was the previous deputy city attorney back in 2011. My recommendation after reviewing this, and I've talked to the city court judge about this agreement, and he can live with it. The only thing that's not explicit in this agreement, after talking to Sandy, she pointed this out to me, is that it's not explicit in here that we can enter into other agreements or memorandum of understanding with other municipalities to enter into agreements to prosecute their ordinance violations. And I want to make sure that's carved out, because that's an important thing that this court is doing. Right now, we're dealing with the city of Southport, and I know that the judge has been talking to a couple other municipalities, and I want to make sure we're not waiving that right. So my recommendation would be to add the following language to this. Whereas this MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, does not restrict the city from entering into agreements with other municipalities to prosecute their ordinance violations. And again, I think it's probably, we probably can do that. I know by law we can do that regardless of what this memorandum says, but I think just for our protection, it should be in there. Anybody have any questions?
So are you going to reject what they sent us, or have them make the correction or the addendum?
What I will do, I will contact Ms. Junkins tomorrow, tell her that this is my recommendation to the board, and see if she'll agree to this change in language. If she does, fine. My recommendation at the next meeting is that you give me permission to sign the agreement. If she doesn't, then we have a current agreement with the prosecutor's office right now. So,
I'll take a motion to defer to city legal in working with the prosecutor's office to do the memorandum of understanding. And when he is confident with it, then he'll be allowed to sign it.
I'll make said motion.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, the motion carries. Under new business, as you are aware of, the NDOT has awarded a bid for the Main Street reconstruction project to a company called Great X. The city's match is $1.162 million. We met last week with Trent Newport, who is the engineer on this project. We are getting ready to receive an invoice from NDOT in the amount not to exceed $970,000. We have not received that invoice. What I'm asking the board to do this evening is to allow the clerk to go ahead and pay that invoice upon arrival, because we have a pre-bid our pre-construction meeting October the 12th in Greenfield, and NDOT will not proceed until that invoice is paid in full. So my motion to the board is to allow the clerk to go ahead and proceed with payment, and then obviously it will be on the docket for pay at the next meeting. So if I could get a motion to go ahead and allow the clerk to pay the invoice from NDOT.
Okay, and that invoice, just to be clear, is $953,000?
No, it should not. You should set the motion at not in excess of $1 million. We think it's going to be $966,000.
Right.
But we're not sure, somewhere in that ballpark.
Just to make sure it doesn't hold up the project, we would rather be on the safe end on it.
Okay.
So I ask for a motion to approve.
I'll make said motion.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, and the motion carries. Before you, we received a City of Beech Grove application for license from Harvey's Tavern today. She filled out the application and paid her fee. However, we cannot issue a permit until the police chief does an inspection and signs off on it. So I would ask for a motion to approve the application for license for Harvey's Tavern based on the recommendation of the police chief. And I suspect he'll do that within the next couple of days.
I'll make said motion.
I have a question,
Mhm.
please.
Mhm.
Is it, the name of the business is Harvey's Tavern?
Yes.
And then I have, you know, on the next section says name of business, Void Music.
Yeah.
That is the person that actually brings in the equipment, the jukeboxes.
Okay, gotcha. I'll second Dave's motion.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, and the motion carries. Before you is resolution number 7, 2012, is a resolution presented by Regions Bank, who is the leaseor in the lease purchase of the trash trucks. And at this time, I'll defer to the clerk to read the resolution, please. Yes, right here.
Resolution number 7, 2012, whereas the governing body of the city of Beech Grove, the lessee, has determined that in order for the lessee to better accomplish its public purposes, the lessee needs to acquire the use of the equipment described in the schedule attached to or set forth in the equipment lease purchase agreement to lease attached hereto, and whereas the lessee has determined that the most economical and efficient means of acquiring the use of said equipment is pursuant to the equipment pursuant to the lease, and whereas a copy of the lease has been presented to, considered, and approved by the governing body of the lessee. Now therefore be it resolved by the governing body of the lessee as follows. Number 1, the lessee is hereby authorized to enter into this lease between the lessee and Regions Equipment Finance Corporation as lessor, with all writers, certificates, schedules, and amendments thereto substantially in the form attached hereto. And the execution and delivery of the lease is hereby approved, authorized, and ratified and confirmed. 2, the clerk treasurer and/or mayor, each and any of them without the other, is hereby authorized to execute and deliver the lease on behalf of the lessee in substantially the form presented to the governing body of the lessee at this meeting, with such changes or additions thereto or deletions therefrom as the officer executing the same shall approve, which approval shall become conclusively evidenced by his or her execution of the lease. The clerk treasurer and/or mayor, each and any of them without the other, are hereby authorized to execute and deliver on behalf of the lessee such agreements, indemnities, purchase orders, leases, bills of sale, certificates of other instruments or obligations as they or any of them may deem necessary or appropriate to the accomplishment of the lease, and the execution and delivery of any such agreement, instrument, or obligation prior to the date hereof by any such officer is in all respect hereby confirmed, ratified, and approved. The clerk treasurer and/or mayor is hereby authorized and directed to affix the corporate seal to such instruments and to attest to the same. Number 3, the clerk treasurer and/or mayor of the lessee are authorized and directed to do or cause to be done all such other acts and things to make all payments, including rent payments, required pursuant to the lease and related documents, and to execute all such documents, certificates, and instruments as in his or their judgment may be necessary or advisable in order to carry out the foregoing resolutions and the lessee obligations under the lease, or any amended, renewed, or supplemental lease, and all actions heretofore taken by the clerk treasurer and the mayor of the lessee in connection with the acquisition of equipment and negotiation of the lease are hereby approved, ratified, and confirmed in all respects. Number 4, the lessee hereby designates the lease to be a qualified tax exempt obligation under provisions of section 265B, number 3 of the Internal Revenue Code as amended. Be it further ordained by the Board of Public Works and Safety that this resolution shall only apply to the lease purchase agreement for the 2 rear-loading semi-automated trash trucks that will be used by the Department of Public Works and will be financed through Regions Equipment Finance Corporation. Be it further ordained that this resolution shall come into effect immediately upon passage of the Board of Public Works and Safety, attested by the clerk treasurer and signed by the mayor, passed by the Board of Works, City of Beech Grove on this first day of October 2012.
Floor is open for questions or comments.
Have we leased any other vehicles like this in the city?
Yes. They've leased the machine that cleans the roads. They've leased payloaders, and they've leased other equipment.
So is it the same as an individual lease, like say you or I leasing a vehicle at the end of the lease term? Can you get them back, or do you sell them, or you buy them? What happens at the end of the
No,
lease?
they belong to the city.
It's a lease purchase.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions? I'll ask, at this time, I'll ask for a motion to approve resolution number 7, 2012.
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, and the motion carries. Get the signed copy.
Let me see here. I'll get that inside.
Okay. At this time, under new business, we have a presentation on dental and vision proposal from Kristen Duncan. Kristen, would you come forward, please?
Thank you, Mayor and board members. I believe we distributed a packet to everyone before the meeting started, and I turned your attention to that. And the first couple of pages, as Dan mentioned in a prelude to the meeting, the dental insurance took a 19% rate increase, which takes effect on November 1st, and we've been working to secure alternative bids for the city on that, as well as the vision plan, which took a 6% increase from this past year, and that too takes effect on November 1st. Both of those lines of coverage are with Guardian right now. And in that packet, the first couple of pages will outline the 14 alternatives that we reviewed from 9 different carriers. We also reviewed a quote from Delta Dental, and they just did not have a good fit for the city, as did most of the other bidders that we took a look at. I've got highlighted Guardian on the first page there, and that's your current carrier and current plan of benefits, as well as 2 other carriers that we looked at, MetLife, which you will see a more formal proposal in the attached materials. And then we also looked at Kansas City Life, and Kansas City Life is going to be our plan B if we need to move forward with that option. If you turn the page, the city offers its employees 2 dental plans, and we'll just name those the low plan and the high plan. The vast majority of the employees do participate in what we call the low plan, and that should be the first or the next page that you would see of plan options. As you go through, there is one major concern that we're kind of working through right now, and that is the primary dental provider for city employees is not participating with the MetLife structure, and we have put the network folks with MetLife in contact with that doctor's office, and that doctor's office has usually been favorable to change into the networks that the city employees participate in, but that is still yet to be determined. One other revision in the plan design that you'll see halfway down the page is that the MetLife plan does not offer what we call a carryover or deductible credit rollover, which is kind of like rollover minutes on a cell phone bill. In lieu of that, what MetLife has agreed to do at no additional cost to the city is to raise their annual maximum from what now is $1,000 up to $1,250. So that'll increase the benefit to the employees. As far as the rest of the structure, as you look at those lines all the way across, you'll see a lot of similarities there. In addition to that, I would highlight down below in footnote number 3, MetLife has also agreed that they would not raise the rates in the second year any more than 8%. So that obviously is a good positive that we're going to be able to keep the costs in check from year to year. You also see the rates there, and these are the rates that are billed. They're not necessarily the city's costs or the employees' costs. This is the monthly billed rate amounts, depending on how the enrollee is enrolled. The next page outlines the dental option, which we call the high option. This would be a more traditional plan design, and it is not network sensitive like the prior plan. Still maintaining that same issue with regard to the rollover account. We don't have that with the MetLife like we do with the Guardian, but we do have that higher maximum. So again, the benefit structure, with the exception of the rollover limits, would remain the same. And then you can see the cost there.
May I interrupt you for a second?
Yes.
Please? Just so I'm clear, because I don't receive city benefits. So you are with the Guardian?
No, I'm with Duncan Benefit Group,
Okay.
and my company down here on Main Street is the broker for the dental and as well as the medical and life.
Thank you.
I apologize for that. The next page illustrates the vision benefits. The vision benefits are employee paid. There's no city contribution with the vision benefits. And again, we're doing a little bit of a change going to the MetLife structure with regard to the network. MetLife uses the VSP network, whereas right now we have Davis. In the past, we have used VSP. One of the downsides to VSP is that we do lose a lot of the retail chains. For example, the Targets, the Walmarts, we don't have those in the VSP network. And I would call these benefits comparable to what is currently in place. Any questions on the division structure? The next couple of pages just outline the cost factors for both plan options, listed as the current. On that page, down in the lower right-hand corner, you'll see that I've got the city cost per month highlighted, and that's prior to the renewal. And then the next page shows the renewal rates, as well as what the city cost is, assuming we do not change the contributions to the city, or to the employees rather. Then the third page, titled MetLife Dental, outlines the MetLife costs. And it shows a slight reduction in the city's cost down in that lower right-hand corner. Then the page after that just illustrates the vision costs, and I just noticed that that's not very clearly marked there, and it says Guardian Current at $8.41 in the upper left-hand corner. That's the vision costs, and it shows the vision for the MetLife down there. The next page, or the last page of your document, actually might be, when it comes to the cost, might be a nice little piece for you to look at, as it shows the cost breakdown for dental, vision, and then the total for the employees. These are the rates that the employees would pay per pay period. And then the high option, those numbers are also illustrated, as well as the MetLife figures. And we're happy to say that based on what we're seeing here, as long as we can get that one dentist to participate, all the employees would see a rate reduction for those participating in dental and vision. There would be a less than 1% increase for those that are participating with dental only.
Anything else, Chris? Floor is open for questions.
Of course, I have questions. So currently, right now, the city has two plan options, Guardian and MetLife, is that my understanding?
Well, no, right now the city offers Guardian,
Guardian.
and under Guardian, they offer a high option and a low option. And again, the vast majority, I can't remember the exact percentage of employees do participate in what we call the low option.
And why are we comparing just against MetLife?
Well, the first couple pages there illustrate the options that we quoted with the other carriers. And for the vast majority of the carriers, they really could not accommodate two plan designs. They only wanted to offer the city one plan design.
And so right
And then
now-
cost became a factor as well.
So with the 19% increase in dental, the 6% increase in vision effective November 1, that is with Guardian, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, is that pretty much industry standard, that percentage of increase?
No, I think that that's probably pretty high
Okay.
for dental. 6% on vision, that might be okay, but there was no increase. There was a 5% increase on the dental last year and no increase on the vision. So we could equate that to 3% per year.
Any other questions? Dave?
Not at this time. I'd like
As far as the company we're with now, dental was going to be a 19% increase, vision 6% increase.
Right.
And this way here, I think the important thing is where they're going to guarantee us next year no more than an 8%
Right.
increase. And so this year here, we're actually almost taking a 10% increase for employees and city. So if we had a 8% increase next year, it's still cheaper than what we're paying at the present time.
Well, you're saying there was a 10% reduction?
Yes,
Okay,
yes, I'm sorry.
yeah, 10% reduction in cost.
Right.
I got a question for the mayor. Has this been put out for a public bid? Because I'm assuming this involves over $50,000, correct?
No, I don't think it, no.
It does not.
I should maybe check the numbers if you're talking total vision and total dental. The city's contribution is $1,400 per month under the current enrollment. That's with the MetLife proposal.
And this actually is put out for bid with other, he was our representative, but it was put out to bid with
Yeah, I took it to,
10 different companies
in the
approximately.
package there, it shows you the 14 alternatives that we saw from 9 different carriers.
My perspective, Kristen, and to this board, is that this is the first time I've seen this, is when it was given to me tonight. I'm not going to approve or disapprove of this tonight. I won't vote for it, or I won't vote against it. I want to review it,
Sure.
because I don't know what I'm looking at. And I don't understand the current insurance that we have, dental, versus what happens if we change. So I don't know how the board feels, but I would like to digest this a little bit and come back October 15th. Then I could give an opinion on whether I like it or not.
And I'd be happy to meet with you too. I mean, as far as if you guys want to bring folks in, we could have a separate meeting. I know you guys got other stuff on the agenda and so forth, and I kind of rushed through the material, but I'd be happy to go through this in greater detail.
And I would like to add on, what do our employees think about Guardian? What about our labor unions? What do they have? Do they have a say in this as well?
I don't have the insurance personally, so I don't know, but I just don't understand what I'm looking at. Craig?
Well, I will state that, you know, we do have our labor contracts in place with our fire and police, and under Article 4, Section 4 of the, I'm just referring to the agreement we have with the fire department, there is a meet and confer provision regarding any significant and permanent reductions of health, dental, and life insurance premiums. Now, I haven't looked at these numbers. I don't know, what's may consider to be a reduction in benefits. I guess that's in the eye of the beholder, but I think there's just some issues we need to work out internally.
Well, we definitely have some issues on our end still yet, because I would not recommend that the city proceed with this bid if we cannot get the support of that one dentist.
Would you be willing to meet with these employees?
Sure.
Okay. My recommendation to this board is that we move this to the next meeting, then render a decision at the next meeting.
Agree.
Okay.
Ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye. We will take this up October the 15th.
Chris, one question for you.
Yes.
From what I'm seeing here, MetLife has a higher payout for their maximum, correct? Than,
That is correct. The maximum benefit
if I'm looking at all these companies, MetLife even has a higher annual max.
correct.
than Guardian.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Hey, are we also doing life insurance? Or does that come later?
We did life insurance back in April.
That's April. Okay, so that's not on the table until next April?
Actually, when we did that, we negotiated that with a 3-year rate guarantee,
Okay.
so we don't have to mess with that for another 3 years.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you, Chris.
You bet.
Come back October 15th, please.
Okay.
Comments by council members, or board members, sorry.
No comment.
I have,
Ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
second.
Meeting is adjourned at 6:50 PM.